Let's welcome back Coach Arnett. He's offensive coordinator at Pampa High School. He is the man, the myth, the legend. Coach, thanks for being here.
Hey, no problem. I enjoy coming on. It's always a good time.
Uh, I just had Banster on like a couple weeks ago, and that's why we both texted you at the same time. We were talking about the flowing mane. He had the nice flowing mane. I'm like, you look like Coach Arnett. And so at
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
time,
Banster's got it going right now. He does, man. I'm back to the high and tight look now. More of a Ron Swanson type look, but I had fun with it. I let it flow for a while. It was pretty glorious, but it served its time, and I was done with it. I had my fun with it. Had my fling with it.
yeah, we were making fun of my hair. I was like, you two got that, and I got this.
Right, you got the peninsula working there.
Hey, the kids make fun of me, but I'm like, I've had the hairline since like 20. It hasn't moved.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
okay.
Oh, dude, look at this. Mine's so thin that you can see through it, so don't worry. Like, it's combed and stuff, but I can see the color of my scalp all the way through. So,
Yeah, if mine's longer, you see the gray coming on the side. So like, I can't have that.
right, right, right.
Nope.
My gray started in my beard. It started when I was about 30, and it's just been creeping up all the way.
Yeah, and you're also withering away on me. I've seen pictures. We're like, man, he's withering away over there.
Not well, last year, or I guess, yeah, let's just say a year ago, like Christmas time or whatever, I was weighing about 325, 330, and it's like I'm 41 years old, and man, during football season and stuff like that, football season's a stressful season,
Hmm.
especially we were lucky this year, not lucky, but I was lucky. I was health changed my health because it was super stressful this year. We were 2-8, trying to find ways to win games and stuff, and it wasn't the best at all, And I really think I was glad I made this decision and some foresight,
Hmm.
um, maybe some divine intervention. But I started feeling like I was going to die, pretty much weighing 320. You lay down and it's hard when you're over 300 pounds and you're laying on your back or something. It kind of blocks you when you breathe, and
Right.
then you'll get that sleep apnea. You can't hardly, you wake up in the middle of the night gasping for air. And man, it was just, I was miserable. I
Hmm.
felt bad all the time. So I made up my mind. And I got a great friend Dr. Ryan Rosner, my roommate in college. He has given me just tons of tips. Like he specializes, he's got a doctorate, and I hope I don't mess this up in case he gets to see it or something like that. But I think his doctorate's in cellular microbiology. Like he
Hmm.
ran labs looking at the telomere links or telomere length at the end of DNA and flatworms and stuff like that. So like he specializes in longevity and stuff like that, and lives a very super healthy lifestyle. Helped me up on a couple of things. Um, and really, it all started. I started taking metformin, and I know I'm not a pharmaceutical rep, and I ain't pushing them or nothing like that. But metformin and it's like a pre-diabetic diabetic drug that works on your blood sugar regulation,
Hmm.
and that really jump started things, and was great for me. I don't know, like I grew up in the 90s and 80s. I'm in that zillennial age. Like
Hmm.
I was raised in a household. I didn't go to doctor, so
Right.
like I probably my blood sugar wasn't very good for a while because I've been a big guy my whole life, and man, I was done with it. And so like I started taking the metformin, and it's like I felt like my head wasn't as cloudy and stuff like that. And it really helped me start getting focused on that. I started carrying a gallon jug
Hmm.
everywhere. I'll say single-handedly the easiest and biggest thing that I can noticeably like be aware of on my day to day on how well I feel is if I've been drinking a gallon of water a day or not. After about 5 days, I feel like my energy goes way up. I feel like the water itself, just keeping all that stuff lubricated in there, really helps our processes and stuff like that. So it's like, it makes a lot of sense in the digestion.
Hmm.
Um, but then this summer, I ended up taking the semaglutide, which I mean, it has a couple of I think it's the Ozempic is which one it was,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's just a peptide, right? So there's like the new emerging field of human performance and all that stuff and things that coaches need to be aware of because of that is peptide sciences and things like that. Because we really understand the processes from a genetic level now of a lot of our things. So like being able to kind of hack into those is something that's possible. The semaglutide's like a GLP-1 peptide, and part of me regrets even saying it because I know I'm saying it, but I don't know necessarily what it is, other than there are some functions and regulation of blood sugar and stuff like that. Again, but and that stuff, man, if you're, I'll tell you right now, if you're a coach over there and you're over 300 pounds, I'd get on the Ozempic, and I'm no doctor, so I mean, who knows the legality of me even saying that? But anyways, like the weight loss is worth it, and really all it does is take the fun out of eating. It's
Uh-huh.
messing with your blood sugar. Well, not messing with, it's fixing your blood sugar or regulating it where it needs to be. So it's like what I noticed about it was you're not very hungry at all because you're kind of slightly nauseous. There
Okay.
is some nausea with it, but your diet, like if you improve your diet, you can fix that part. When you do eat, you fill up really quick. I did read somewhere that it sends signal to the brain, like the stomach feels full quicker. And man, I'll tell you, like you eat too sugary of stuff and you'll be sick. Like, and
Wow.
I ate like a fast break candy bar, and
Yeah.
45 minutes later, puking my guts up. And I looked at it like, well, that's my body slapping me on the wrist saying, hey, you don't need that anyways. You
Right.
know,
Right.
I've been off it since August, and since August, since I rolled into camp or whatever, I've weighed right at 220 to 230,
Wow.
235, and literally had to buy a new wardrobe. Like I've never wore XL clothes my life. Like in the seventh grade physical, I
Yeah.
was 244 pounds and I was 5'10". I mean, weebles wobble, but they don't fall down, son. Okay. So that has been my whole life, man, and it was just an interesting story. And I know this ain't about football, but I guess I mean it's relative. I think it's a good story. I mean, anybody, because I mean, hell, we've been in football offices. Make no mistake, there's a bunch of coaches that need to lose 100 pounds. You know what I'm saying? And they'll
Yeah.
admit it. And it's just like our man, we're such stubborn creatures as coaches. But
Right.
anyways, I did it, and buying new clothes, man, you feel like a brand new man. I've never felt like pretty in my life until now. And it's like, okay, so now I do feel a little bit pretty. So, the confidence that goes with some weight loss is super, that's super important. And I think a lot of people, neglect that. And it goes back to that health. I mean, you know, I got to be there. My favorite person in the whole wide world is my 14-year-old daughter, Chloe, and I'd love to see her 24. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like,
Right.
and I can't do that at 320. And it's the realness of that and the mortality of that really has stuck with me. And like I said, all I've done since August is maintain, really. It's not like I've been great, and I'll feel like I'll get bad. Monitoring my weight, like
Mhm.
I'm on the scale a lot. And so it's like because that ability to monitor the weight's going to help you recognize. Because when I get 235, I'm like, piss on that. We ain't doing that. So
Right. Man, I haven't seen 220 since high school.
yeah,
Uh,
this
I,
first time, I bet I was in third or fourth grade, probably. I mean, I never weighed back then. Obviously, like if you're 244 by seventh grade, like nobody, there wasn't a scale in the
yeah.
household of the Arnetts.
Yeah. I think I might have been over 240 coming into high school, but then because I started, the sports are intensified, you lose more weight, your metabolism's kicking in.
Yeah.
Football was always 240, 260. My junior year, I stopped playing baseball to focus on football. I got from 245 to 300 pounds by the time football started my senior year.
Yeah.
And what happened was the coaches
You were
got
eating
mad at me.
mayonnaise sandwiches?
Oh, I was lifting, it was protein shakes, food. We
Oh,
we would work out. Hey, let's go to McDonald's. And I'm like, yeah, you're in high school. Let's go do that.
right. Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I didn't know how to move. Like we came back
Oh,
when football happened, the coach was like, Steve, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And looking
Completely
back
different
at,
body, moving a tank instead of a little sports car.
yeah. But then I hurt my knee and my back, so I couldn't lift. Played basketball. I got down to 215, coach, between 300
Wow.
and 215.
That's like Christian Bell on The
Yeah.
Machinist to like, I always thought that was a funny statistic how Christian Bell went from The Machinist to weighed like 67 pounds. And
Yeah.
then the next movie was Batman or The Dark Knight Rises
Yeah.
or whatever. And he was like 225. Like,
Yeah. It's, people don't believe me. So I have pictures of like my football picture and my basketball, and they go, "Oh my God." And I'm like, yeah, like, I don't know what happened. Then I tried to walk on. So I had to try to put on more weight again. I only got to 275 and I walked in. They said, "You're too small, buddy. Like, you ain't
yeah.
gonna make it." And they were right. They made me a tight end. I had to run. I'm like, run.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And then you know how it is playing college ball. Like, you're eating 3 trays of food and trying to put on.
Yeah. You're a garbage disposal, man. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
knock down any indeterminate amount of calories any day.
So, well, then I stopped playing after that first year. But what was I used to? I was used to
Oh,
eating.
yeah, dude.
So you're in college. I'm not playing sports no more. You're eating. All of a sudden, I swelled up like a balloon. I'm like in a 3X shirt. I'm about to be in a 4X. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Met my now wife, and that's kind of what changed it. Like, oh, maybe I should
Yeah.
not do that. And so I fluctuate from 275 to 300. It always fluctuates.
Yeah.
Always goes up
How
during.
tall are you?
I'm 6'5".
Yeah, for sure.
So people are, when I tell people I'm 285 or 290, they don't believe me because I'm tall. So they're like,
Right?
there's
Oh,
no
yeah.
way. And I'm like, oh yeah,
They don't know. Yeah, I know exactly. That I mean, that like I said, that's been my whole life. I was like 285. I'm 6'4". I don't carry it quite like that. But it's wild. People have no idea how much 280 pounds is.
no.
And it's just like for offensive linemen, it's like that's just like another number. You're like, yeah, I don't understand. This is yeah.
Well, that's why you see all the NFL guys get skinny after they're done.
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
I can't walk around at 330 anymore.
No, man, you can't. It's insufferable.
Or like, I love the World's Strongest Men stuff. And
Oh gosh, yes. Oh Lord, dude. Um, Brian Shaw.
yeah,
I saw,
yep,
I saw Brian Shaw somewhere at a coaching deal because he was the strength coach there at UNLV back in the day, or
okay,
if he still may be. But I remember when he just was getting rolling. Man, I'm starting to get old. Maybe 210. 2012, I want to say somewhere
yeah,
around there was when he got rolling.
yeah,
Anyways, he's the most largest, massive individual you can ever imagine. He's like 7 foot, 7'1",
mhm,
400, 450.
something like that. Yeah, he's
It's and
huge.
you see it, it doesn't even make sense, dude. He's because like you see some of the tall people, like especially like basketball players, but it's like they're out in front of the cell phone store,
Yeah,
like selling
yeah,
cell phones, wailing, and then like you have certain individuals out there, these ogres out there that just like, and you're like, oh my god, like it's just hitting the plus size on an entire avatar deal.
yeah. But those documentaries that they did about him and like Eddie Hall and what they're eating and
Yeah,
the weight, and it was the Born Strong one. They talked about it, like especially Eddie Hall, like he was not a natural 385 or whatever it was. He's like, you're gonna
right.
die if you do this for another 5 years. You're gonna die.
Yeah, dude.
Can't
Yeah,
do it.
those guys push the limits now.
Oh yeah, Brian Shaw, he's 6'8", and when he was at his peak, he was between 385 to 454. Like,
Yeah, dude. Ridiculous.
I love watching that stuff though. I
Oh,
mean,
big
I
time,
love
dude.
watching it.
All
And
the way back to the classics. Big Cats, Katzmeyer
yeah,
was this dude in the 70s, Bill Kazmaier, dude. That dude is a bad mamma jamma now. Like, that guy did some things, and it's like, I don't even think most people can even do powerful. Like,
mhm.
like the Atlas Stone deals. Like, anybody that's ever tried to pick up an Atlas Stone,
Oh
dude,
no,
that stuff's, and they will throw freaking ones that are like, you know, freaking 120, 130 kilograms, 150 kilograms, and just up
just
on a barrel, dude. And you're like, that's not what people do.
they're
That's
not
not.
meant. They're not meant to.
Yeah. Man, there's some amazing things that they can do. I love that. I love that World's Strongest Man. And
Oh
then
yeah.
in the 90s, like growing up, when I grew up in the 90s, dude, it was kind of big. Like it
Yeah.
was on ESPN regularly, like
Yes. Yep.
you had Magnus Ver Magnuson and Magnus Samuelsson and these great produced, like, man, I'm so like, and as a high schooler, like I went I was in high school 96 to 2000. So I still was in a pre-internet era. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And it's
Yeah.
like when you look at coaching and stuff like that, as a whole, the internet's made such a difference because we didn't know how to train back then. Like your
No.
coaches, like
No.
you, and you really had to get out there, and that's why football coaches and stuff are great about it now, of going out and literally talking to another staff or something
Hmm.
like that, because that's all they had pre
Right.
2001. That was what you did, what your scheme you ran, offensively, defensively, what your lifting program was what you had been exposed to, which for a lot of coaches was not very much. But
No.
like I really, you can see where the research took off in our profession though.
Right. Yeah. Like I was in high school from 2005 to 2009,
Right.
and you're talking about the weightlifting. Like, I'm not saying one rep maxes are gone, but I was like, hey, you got to do this 8, 4, 2, 1.
Yep.
It's got to be heavy. It's got to be this. You're doing full body workouts. You're doing this.
For sure.
Chains on it, and then blah 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 blah. And then, like you said, when I wanted to coach, we ran the power I triple option. What did I say I was going to run when I coach? We're going to run power I triple option because that's all
That's
we
what
knew.
you know.
You
Yeah.
traded DVDs. There was no huddle. You had to drive and trade. And then 2012, maybe I realized what huddle was, and I was like, oh, you don't have to drive and do all that. I don't have to drive to a clinic. I can go on the internet and send somebody a message, like an email.
Right.
What are you talking about? Like what? Like, and then 2015 to 2019, it blew up, and then COVID, just that was it.
Right. Yeah. And then everything was like, all right, well, here we are.
I overdosed on football during COVID. I had so much like written down. I have a tote of stuff, like a tote and a half of just stuff from the old times. COVID, just writing everything down. I'm gonna run this. I'm gonna run this. I'm gonna run this, and I knew everything.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
I had to get away from football. I couldn't podcast. I couldn't do nothing. I was like, I overloaded myself. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
and then I realized, wait a minute, what this coach said is exactly what this coach is doing. He's just using different words, or he's
Right.
doing the
Right.
same
Right. Oh, you
block.
got to see that part, man. Yeah.
It was all of that. Oh,
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think in really in hopefully in every coach's career, there's a point that you start recognizing the what you're really looking at, because man, I think about it as a young coach and stuff like that. When I was doing technique and man, I wanted it to be the prettiest duck walks, and we're our half bucket, and we're going to be so precise, and
yep.
all of our timing is going to, oh, it's going to be beautiful. And a lot of times, on those early teams, I could get guys to look real pretty. They could duck walk and stuff like that, but then, became freaking Susie down the block that just wanted to go hug everybody
Hmm.
when you got in the game, and I've learned as I've gotten older. I mean, the most important things, the football, you got to run off the ball. I don't give a crap what position it is. You got to attack. Like the mindset of running off the ball has to be
Yeah.
taught first. It's so hard, but it's like blocking, running a great route, any of that stuff. You got, man, run off the ball because you can make up for all that other stuff, dude. You can get that car under control, but
Hmm.
until you punch the gas, you don't know what it's like to go 0 to 60 in 5.7. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's like they have to encounter the fear of that and overcome that part to realize, hey, I got control of this, right? Because that's really what happens is like, it's just like, you're driving a sports car, man. You first get in it, it is going to be nervous, right? You're going
Right.
full speed. I'm punching the gas. But when you're able to step back then and take a breath and see what you're actually doing, then it becomes a lot easier. And now you can start looking for things, you can start teaching a kid technique and improving stuff. But you got to get that across first. And so, stuff like that is looking at those broad sweeping concepts. What am I really trying to do? And then like you were talking about, you start recognizing, um, when you're running curls and outbacks and stuff like that, like if I'm running just like essentially I'm 10 back to 8 or 14 back to 12, maybe even a little bit shorter. I'm driving. Really, I'm just trying to get in that window. When you start seeing like on coverages like cover 2, cover 4, and it's these two little shells that kind of
Mhm.
drift apart like this.
Right.
And you start seeing those units, and then you see all that space in there. Um, and now you start realizing, oh, that's why I'm curling those guys. That is
Yeah.
what I'm looking for. So like seeing those stubs defensively is hard though, because it's hard to lose it, to understand the individual pieces in the whole, to see the bigger
Right.
deal. And so that's what you're always trying to study and get better at is, how can I gain enough knowledge about this that I can now step back from it and man, because I feel like if I can get my hands on the nit and gritty of an idea, I can get it.
Right.
I'm a big believer. Richard Feynman, I probably talked about him before. He's a physicist, and his Feynman technique is they say like the hands down the award winning way to learn something or whatever. It's called the Feynman's technique. Um, the basis of all of it is that if you really know something, you should be able to explain it like a sixth grader. Like you should not be, and we can't be afraid to explain concepts to people in common terms because those, man, words are hard.
Yeah.
They really are because like there's probably things that I say, me being from Texas and stuff like that, and growing up coastal Houston, and you from Illinois and stuff.
Yeah.
There are sayings that I don't quite catch even, and that we're just talking about a region, and it's the same language. So in coaches, and defensive coaches seem to have been a lot better about keeping a universal language or to a degree, but golly, offensive coaches want words for everything and they want to create everything. So
Yep.
we've
I,
we've created like the Tower of Babel of
yeah.
freaking languages offensively.
Yeah. I've been like that. And then this year was the first time we weren't full the feed the cat stuff. I kept trying to push
Yeah, that
that,
stuff's good.
I kept trying to push it. Um, our head coach played linebacker in college, so he has this different mentality. Some of it he likes, some of it he's uncomfortable with. And I said, I get it. Our strength coach helped out at Northwestern for a year, so he wants to do the things that they were doing.
Right, right, right.
Uh, so I said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to simplify things for my group, and I'm going to try to feed the cats my way. And he goes, well, how are you going to do that? And I said, okay, these kids have to practice defense just because we're not fortunate enough. They don't have to start both ways, but they have to be prepared. So I'm like, okay, defensive line, what are you doing today? We're doing a lot of one-on-ones. We're gonna have inside run, team, whatever. And I said, okay, individual time for me, we're not hitting. We're gonna use hand shields. We're gonna go through our steps. We're gonna make sure we're understanding things. Blah 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 blah. I'm gonna make sure that maybe we don't do inside run on offense today if you're going first. Well, wait a minute, you're not gonna hit. What are you talking about? We'll hit in team. I want them fresh. I want their minds clear. I want everything like that. And it was uncomfortable for about a week. My kids were even like that. But then I realized the words I was saying, so like wide zone, the push the world away from them, clicks with them. I put more tools in their toolbox of being simple, of like on inside zone. I don't care how you get there. Here's 3 or 4 ways you can do it. Pick the fastest one you're good at. Maybe my left guard can do this, but the center can't. So he's going to do something different. And once
Right.
we started doing that, and it was simple for just that individual kid because I was taking more time with that. It, I think it helped. Not saying we were world
For
beaters
sure.
by any stretch. Like for example, we double team on inside zone. Week 3, a team figured out how to beat it. if we slant as fast as we can and bring every linebacker as fast as we can, they can't double team. They can't do this. They can't do this.
Yeah.
So I had to go traditional inside zone. I said, we're all stepping this way somehow. We're scooching and we're just going
Yeah.
that way. And we're going to pick them up. And it
Yeah,
fixed.
yeah. We call that a gang call.
Yeah.
Like giving it like a gang call turns a true zone, like step
Yeah.
and go. And you're exactly right. Especially those teams that want to do that, and it's tough because it's going to test them linemen's eyes. You know, are they really looking where they're supposed to, and are they doing stuff? And man, that slant's so tough because you know that second step that an offensive lineman's got to get in the ground. Boy, howdy, man.
Mm-hmm.
That one right there is what gets them beat, dude. Like
Yep.
the first steps. I'll be honest. The first step is like.
Yeah.
I mean, I will take a kid opening and pivoting and not gaining any ground if that second step is upfield and in a hurry.
Yep.
Because if they can jam that second step in the ground, man, they've got it done. But because they don't have any power until that point. They got to. I mean, that's where the urgency's got to hit in offensive line. You know, that's that power step, and I got to hit it like a freaking bouncing Betty, like that. My foot's blowing back off. I'm bringing my knee. I tell them on both combos and on wind blocks when I'm solo, man, I am trying to knee that dude because I've got to get my knee up and drive it down. But the knee up, man, making them slam that knee forward, what it does is it really helps gain ground because if they're just playing pitter patter and they're not displacing, it's all physics. So you got to examine that knee drive and run. And it's that mindset that I have to put this on the ground.
Yep.
My freaking mom's car is on the railroad tracks and the freaking train is coming. Like, I've got to get this shit out of here now.
Right. Yep. That's
I get
why.
excited about O-line play, Coach. I'm sorry.
I
get into it now.
That's why when I was talking to Banster, we both at the same time were like, we got to text him. We both got to get him back on because we want to run through a brick wall after he's done talking. Like at the same time, we were both like at the same time. It's recorded. Whenever that comes out, it's recorded. Where it's like we both. But that's why I call it load stepping. Pick the foot up, pick the foot down, go.
Yeah.
My experienced guard who's been starting for 3 years can do it.
Right.
My offensive tackle, who is also 6'5", like 260, maybe that's not his thing because he just can't do it.
Right.
I gave him the scooch technique. That's why in the game, this is why I try to scale it back. What do we all do in a game? I don't care how you got there. You blocked him. So I try to do that in practice. Like, even though we're going through it in team in practice or whatever, if he blocks a guy, I've had kids turn around, Coach, I didn't take the right steps. I'm sorry. I'm like, I don't care. You blocked him.
Right. Oh, yeah. Good point. Yeah.
I treated it like a game. So at halftime, sometimes they'll say that. And like, oh, well, I'm like, hey, you blocked him. You got there. I really don't care how you're getting there as long as you're staying low or giving the running back what he needs to.
Right.
So I try to scale it back this year and try to treat it like a game. And there were times where like you said, going back to the main point of like, we always overcomplicate things. There were times where I felt I was too simple. I was just trying to be blatantly honest with things. There's no way to dance around it.
Right.
Don't give it a code word. Tell it exactly how it is. We had to go pistol this year because our running backs' vision, all of them, not just one, all of them, their vision sucked.
Yeah.
So sidecar wasn't working. We went to pistol, and I just said, guys, get downhill, cut. Wide zone, cut. Power, you're following the guard. Like there was no hiding anything. It was just boom, boom, boom. And if we get tackled at the line of scrimmage, they get all mad. I'm like, why? Like, let's not panic. We're gonna be simple.
Right.
Like, who cares? Wide receivers, I'm like, at the end of the day, guys, get off the ball. Like you said, the route will take care of itself. If you just get off the ball and jam that guy off of you, it takes care of itself. If you pitter patter and slow, like, why do we complicate things? Just run off the ball. Quarterback will find you. Offensive lineman, we all do kick slides, but sometimes, high school kids, they're not going to do it. They're just going to find a way to get in front of them.
For sure.
And they'll tell me like, oh, I didn't kick slide and whatever. I'm like, yeah, but you blocked him for 3 seconds.
Right.
Who cares?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And it goes, and I really think that's a great point because it's like it was important during the individual, when you're working kick slide. Yeah, I want to have perfect kick slides then and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because that's the focus of where my success is going to come from, really being aware of my body, trying to execute this perfectly, and trying to feel what I wasn't right. Where was I off balance and stuff?
Right.
If you were to what you want kids to do is find success, because it all goes down to confidence. So it's like they need to understand, hey, to find success in this. And I mean, heck, this is pedagogy stuff. This is stuff they teach in the classroom, really. But it's like, if I find success at this, I can build on that. Right. I got to give them freaking confidence. So in team, the goal, what I'm trying to achieve is to block that guy. You're exactly right. And so my mind's no longer on the kick step. Exactly. Now, pre-snap, I'm giving it a quick once over. What do I think I got? Load up, like I'm doing my little pre-snap, but I got to fall off that mountain once the whistle blow. I mean, once I say hit, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I tried to think about running back, this year. And when I think about like insertion points and like where your angle is, man, what a different thing he's seeing than what I'm used to as an offensive lineman. Like I've only played O-line. Mm-hmm. Now I know what O-line, like, I freaking like Bane, I was born a freaking O-lineman, like that's my life. But man, I don't know what it's like to be a skill player. I always thought, but I started thinking this year, man, if you tell that guy it's like falling, when you, not like a mountain, but like, let's say kind of steep hill, and he took off running. And but if I'm under control, man, you attack it. So I try to talk to running backs about that. They want to fall off that hill. They want to run off that hill. When I'm coming downhill and taking that, and that's the hard part, and that's why you dang sure can't complicate it for them. Run to grass, son. Mm-hmm. Like I'm taking these steps. Run to grass. They can get their eyes, and like on the wide zone, they're reading that in, stuff like that. Well, make no mistake that if he's feeling and seeing this grass here too, just like we were talking about with the O lineman, maybe he makes his cut a little early and gets off his path, but but let's say he's right and he got 6-7 on it right there. Mm-hmm. What's the goal? Shit. That man gets more than 4 yards now. Like, let's make sure we're happy and positive with him first and letting him know, hey, that's exactly right? There's nothing, because, sometimes, man, you can beat it. It's like beating a mule and scaring it, because, you can make a back gun shy real quick if you start clouding his mind, man. If you got that ball in your hand, it's gravy, baby. You got to be flowing, man. That's why people fall in love with like Eric Dickerson when he played and stuff like that. And then, a lot of times Gary Payton's considered one of the best ever, that played it. Hell, his name's Sweetness. And man, there is that, just when you watch a cat running the ball effectively, it is smooth. Fluid is fast. Bruce Lee said it, man. Jeet Kune Do, the way of the water, baby. I got to be fluid, and I snap on things. And you got to be, man, you're just running the grass and you play backyard. That's where that comes into effect with, I think, at the high school level. I guarantee that the kids that are really successful at long runs and stuff played a lot of pick-me-up football games, Coach, when they were young, and they were just running for their lives and stuff like that were physical. You know what I'm saying? Like, those backyard football games are important, man.
Yeah.
Because you got to know where you're playing in space. And like O-linemen are in this phone booth, so we're all like, eating up everybody, and it's all tight. O-line is not like that. O-line is the nit and gritty, baby. It's the dirty business.
Yeah.
It's what goes bump in the night. You know what I'm saying? What happens in that box is violence.
Yep.
You know, like
And it's
both
quick.
sides of the ball. It is a different mindset. It is a different. No longer am I fluid and fast. Now I am the freaking right hand of God, and I'm gonna smite thee. You know what I'm saying? Like I am
Right.
coming down, and this is what happens. I
Right.
mean, because you got to impose your will on it on another human, another man. Let's say those two guys evenly matched. That's an unbelievable. Trent Williams versus Reggie White over there. You're literally talking about man-on-man combat right
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
And there's a lot to. I mean that's a whole different type of excitement. You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like
Oh yeah.
if in that's learning how to fight like that, dude, is huge on stuff. I got excited right there because I mean, it's just like it gives me the goosebumps, man, because that's what it's about, that whole thing comes together where you have this whole box of just brute getting getting things done, bruteness, no tact, whatever. I'm mowing you over, and then around it is just freaking sweetness. You know what? Just
Yeah.
slide. Whoa,
Yeah.
miss people. Flipping hips and stuff like that. Like popping people off, dude. That like
Yeah.
if and I was talking to my receivers this year, like to me, and it's like I don't understand a receiver that wouldn't want to run the sexiest route that they could run every single route.
Right.
Man, if I could move like that,
Yeah.
if I could do a little shit, dude, like it would be over, because that's so fun. Like, why would you miss that? Like just snapping and avoiding the contact. Yeah, I don't blame kids that are fast. No, I don't want to hit. Like, dude, if I was fast enough to just run around everybody, like, why would I want to hit? Like,
Yeah.
maybe that makes me soft, but like because it's a different mindset. It's shifting over. As a lineman, I got no problem hitting. I'll
Right.
do that dirty work. That's where I earn my keep.
Right. I told the running backs that too. Like when we were pass blocking, I was like, "What? That guy is coming to hit your teammate or hit you and say, get out of my way. Why would you not want to just you have the full head of steam. You're right there.
Right.
Why do you not want to take this guy out?" But it was probably the lineman in me coming in like so there was times where I said, "Hey guys, running backs are coming with us and we're gonna let a guy go on purpose. Like don't even pass protect this guy."
Right.
And I would sneak it in. And if they got blown over, I'm yelling at them like, "You got to do this technique, you got to do this technique." And our running backs coach played in college, and he's like, "No, do this." I was like, "No, no, 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 we're gonna do this." Stepped on his toes a little bit. I was like, "No, they got to get mean. They got to like hit. They got to drive him out. They can't avoid." And it's got to be 5 seconds in their mind. It's 5 seconds. It's only
Right.
gonna be 2 or 3, but you got to hit them. So they try to do that shoulder thing. I'm like, "Quit being a." I can't say it here. I had other words. Don't be whatever. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you can't just do this because that defensive end, if he's even 230, he's coming after you and bam, he's going to knock you out. And then he's going to
Oh
come do
yeah.
it again and again.
Right.
And yeah. And then it's funny you talked about the wide zone story. That happened to us. We'd always cut it back to like the B gap one time, one game, cut it back all the way to the backside and got like 4 yards. Running back comes over, he goes, "Coach, sorry, I went all the way to the back." I was like, "Do you not watch college ball? That's what we want. If you
Right.
want to
Right.
go to
Right.
the backside C gap, I do not care. You got 4 yards." Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, because it all clumpled up. It all had a lineman fall. It piled up. It
Right.
cut all the way back." And I'm like, "That's beautiful." Like they were afraid that they did it wrong. And I'm like, "No. At the end of the day, what's the point? Get the ball as far down the field as we."
Yeah. You remember when I was talking about like coverages like that? And that's
Yeah,
another shape to look for. Run game is that wave, especially zone play.
yeah,
It literally, when you go watch, if you got a clip of highlights of particularly wide zone, first off, you know, you watch it, the way that it moves, it will crest like a wave. You'll see it crash in on that front side. It'll fall in right
yeah,
there, right? And then and that dude, the back can hit it right out the gate. And then you'll see that wave be in front of it, and you'll see it sweep from the backside, and then you'll watch that. That's why they cut backs, and it's like I don't know how to coach it like that, but like if you could get a kid to understand that he's riding a
Yep.
wave,
Yep.
like I don't know the right words, but that's what that running back when he's falling off that hill right there,
Yep.
he's trying to catch that wave, man. Like feeling it push by here or feeling it pressed and rolling, um, teaching them to do that and run to grass is probably a lot more effective than
Yep.
you know.
That also happened another one because we were just inside zone, wide zone, a little bit of power. We didn't have the right kids to kick out and all that stuff. So why do it? Was just we took the pin and pull concept just out of toss. We only pulled the front side. I'd have my backside. I don't even care about the lineman. You're gonna go get the linebacker. If that lineman
Right,
catches the
right.
running back, we're gonna get a new running back because there's no reason. We could go out a bunch and down block and pull around, all that good stuff. It was game 2. This kid never really played running back before. It was a grind game. We put him in for a couple runs, did good. Wicked first step. We tossed it to the right. He went. There was nowhere to go. He stopped, cut it back. Those linemen just came down the field thinking they weren't going to get him. Because I had the lineman go get the linebacker, he ran opposite of the toss and got like a 25-yard run.
Nice.
And he goes, "Coach, I know I'm supposed to go to the right." And I was like, "Shut up. Don't even talk. You just got a 25-yard run, man, and you're a sophomore." Like,
yeah.
And I'm like, you just made a play.
Right.
I always tell them, guys, this is a perfect world right here when we're in practice. Like when we're going to, this is what I would love to happen. It's never going to happen like this. So stuff like that I get excited about because I'm like, you just made a play and you made me look smart. You made me look like a genius.
Right. Man, that right there, when you're evaluating athletes, extending the ability to extend a play is a big time trait. And it that's why you had quarterbacks, I think, like Jared Lorenzen, like at Kentucky,
Yeah.
the hefty lefty,
Yeah.
big boy. I mean, big.
Yep,
He's about 310 or whatever, the hefty lefty. I mean, I was in love with him. Like, I thought he was the coolest quarterback because when I was in high school, I played O-line. So it's like, oh, it's like I'm the quarterback, like I was a dork, okay? Like, I was a dork, all right? But anyways, freaking, he would be able to avoid and have the pocket presence to extend a play.
Yeah.
That's what, and like the kid you're talking about, he felt bottled up, hit it. He didn't know what the right choice was. And I mean, kids that can extend the play a lot of times are going to make the play happen for you. I mean, it gives yourself a chance.
And it's just funny how things work out. We put him in at running back. This was game 2. The first game we put him at running back. He had been practicing quarterback, but he's a running quarterback. We put him in at running back. He ran wide zone. And his wicked cut, and I looked at the head coach and the OC, and I was like, did we just find another running back? Because
nice,
that was awesome. And then we did a quarterback sneak, 50-yard run touchdown. And then I looked at him, I was like, did we just find our quarterback too? Like it was 2 kids, like 2 different kids that weren't starting. Like, did we just find our quarterback also? Quarterback sneak for a 50-yard touchdown run? Are you kidding me? Like,
nice.
I'm bragging a little bit. That kid had a rushing touchdown at quarterback, passing touchdown at quarterback, and a receiving touchdown as a wide receiver in that first.
Man, that's all. Like, good for that young man.
We were like, oh, well, our scrimmage. We put him at quarterback. He dropped back. Pocket broke down because, of course, it's backups. Takes off. 70-yard run touchdown in our scrimmage. And
nice.
And he was a sophomore. He didn't want to play quarterback either. Like,
really?
He wanted to be a wide receiver. And I tried to tell him, like, well, that just tells me you want the ball. And he goes, yeah. And I was like, guess who gets the ball every play? Center, and quarterback.
That's it.
The ball. And you can make, and then we didn't trust him on his zone read. So we just, because he wouldn't fake all the time. So we just kept saying, until you prove it, we're never going to do it. We made it to the second round of the playoffs this year. He had not run on a zone read all year. There was a Division I defensive end. Halftime, I looked at the OC. I said, it's time. We just got to let him do it. It's a close game. First play, inside zone. That kid come crashing in, pulled around, 20-yard run. Next play, he made the wrong read. The defensive end sat there, made him look silly. Just win.
Yeah.
and he's a sophomore too. And we were like, okay, all
Money. Yeah.
just
No,
making
right.
plays. He was just making plays because it was a
That's
close
awesome.
game. Well, the school hadn't made the playoffs since 2014, so finally made it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Uh, we went and played at a school in the city first round. We won. That was the first road playoff win since 1997.
Nice.
And got to that second round, and we were doing everything we could. We fumbled it 4 times. That's what killed us.
Can't win games and fumble, coach.
No, no. And it was like bubble screen, fumbled it. We get hit. We get to the
Oh,
10. We turn the wrong way, and then we fumble it. And, you
what do
know,
you think happened?
I don't know. It was, momentum would start going. They're a big time team. And then all of a sudden, like, because I think they look at the lights, because I always say when the lights turn on, that's when everything goes away. I think they might have just looked at the lights and, we're
Yeah.
dealing with our sophomore quarterback. His freshman year broke his foot week 2, so it was technically his freshman year, I guess. For
Yeah.
lack
How
of
many
that.
how many sophomores did you have on all over the field?
Quarterback was a sophomore. Our running back that rotated was a sophomore. One of my right tackle went down like week 5 or 6, so I kept rotating a sophomore in. We had a defensive tackle that was a sophomore. Our safety was a sophomore,
Right.
but that was it.
So,
All-
but right there, man, you're talking about kids in a stressful situation too. A lot of people like preparing for playoffs. Like you said, that team hadn't been there since '97 or whatever. So it's like, hit me baby one more time was coming out. I mean,
yeah,
their parents were maybe in high school, and so they don't know what to do, and it's like they got to understand it's just another game. But it just made me think about that. You know what I'm saying? Just
yeah,
how
yeah. And
you're training guys that are looking at how it goes wrong and stuff like that can open things up.
the team we were playing was the biggest school. Like we were in Class 7A. They were the biggest school in Class 7A. I used to coach there. I coached there for a year. The team we were playing. They've been in the playoffs every year since 2018. So they've all been there, done that.
Oh
So
yeah,
coaching staff, Division 1 defensive end, quarterback was their quarterback was a starting quarterback and starting middle linebacker. So he was a tough kid. Their running back was like 5 foot tall. I called him Stubby, but we couldn't stop him. He had 250 yards rushing. His wicked step was, you know, it was just we had to take one part of their game away. It was the pass or the run. We took
right.
away the pass, had to live and die. But I mean, it was 7-7 at halftime, coach. I mean, we were right.
Yeah, heck yeah,
It was there. We got down to the 10 probably 3 times, only scored once.
man.
It was one of those games.
Oh yeah,
You
I
know,
hear
when we
you.
had momentum, something would go wrong, fumble it, we miss a block, something would happen, we jump off sides.
Right, man,
Um,
and that stuff can be hard to overcome.
and that other team they were in shock. Like they were like in utter shock that
Right.
we were even there because how Illinois works and maybe Texas works, we get playoff points. Like you have to have so many.
I've
So like
never, yeah,
so in Illinois, there's 8 classes. Um, if you go 6-3 to 9-0, you're an automatic playoff bid. Doesn't matter about anything whatsoever.
really.
Yeah. If you're 5-4, it's like an 85 to 90% probability you're going to get in. But then they look at your schedule, like who'd you beat, who'd you lose to, and then you get playoff points. Like if you beat a team that goes 0,
Wow.
if you beat a team that goes 0-9, they're not giving you anything, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There's like power rankings,
Yeah.
I guess, or whatever.
If you beat a team and they go 9-0, they're giving you a ton, right?
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like the team we beat week 1 only won a game. The team we beat week 2 only won a game. Another team we beat only had 2 wins on the year. Another team only had like 2 or 3 wins. So we knew if we got to 5-4, there was a chance that we wouldn't get there because
Right,
but people were like piling it on us, like your schedule is weak and everything else. And our response was, we're rebuilding programs. So our 2
right,
non-cons, we had to make sure they were just like us.
right,
We beat them. The rest was conference. We can't control our conference. So if they're
right,
struggling, we can't control that. But like everybody said, we're going to win 3 games. And then we're starting to win a little bit. Your schedule is weak. You haven't played anybody, blah, 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 blah. we go 6-3, make the playoffs, win that first round playoff game. We're 7-3, and we're like, look at us now. Then we're toe to toe with a team that always gets to the second round of the playoffs, fights for that third round every year, and has way more kids than we do. And we went toe to toe, and they rolled in with 60 kids on varsity. We rolled in with 33. Like it was just
Right.
one of those things, and so it was a learning experience for everybody. Like
Yeah.
those coaches haven't coached a playoff game since 2014. They've been there since. They haven't done it since.
Right.
The last one I coached was 2018 at that school, and those kids have never seen a high school playoff before. Uh, we only won the first round by 3 points. Like it was nothing
Yeah.
big, but still,
Hey, win's a win.
yeah.
Win's a win.
And the best part is quarterback's coming back, running back's coming back, our entire wide receiving core
Right.
coming back, our safeties are coming back, couple D linemen are coming back. I have to replace every position on O line but one. That's the scary part, but everything's coming back.
Right.
So we're looking at it like, hey, I mean, we could
Heck
do it
yeah.
again, but now we're not hiding anymore. Like we're not going
Right.
to hide. Like, but yeah, that's how Illinois playoff works. That's how it works. Boom, 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 and then they take the best. Your enrollment
Right.
put you in those 32 in each class, 1A through 8A.
Really.
Yep.
Texas got 6As. It's split into each is in there's like big school and little school. Or
Yeah.
6A's not. 6A, then there's 5A big,
Yeah.
5A little. Like in our realignment came out today actually. So what they do is it's broken down into districts. They've got 4 regions,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and 4 districts to a region, right? And so, and then it's just you play and you got your district play. Top ones go here, and we take the top 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just number 4 goes against number 1 of this district, number 3 goes against number 2 of this district, and away we go. It's kind of crazy at the um 6A level, like you could go the big or the small or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
it could be different each year because it depends on the 4 teams that made the playoffs,
Right. Right.
of who had the most enrollment. So that's kind of a weird deal. But other than that, no, there's no man. When you were explaining the Illinois deal, like they got like I'm like, who wrote the exponential formulas to come up with like 9 game like it's fun. That's detailed. There's a lot of math in there.
Yeah.
Y'all are
It's
minding your Q's and P's and Q's.
it's been that way for many,
It's
many, many,
funny.
many years. I actually like it because when you get to 5 wins, you're not 100% guaranteed unless you look at your schedule and you're like, we beat
Yeah.
good teams. You get to the 6 win mark, you're guaranteed a game. It's probably going to be away. You go 7-2, you're maybe a home. We're not sure. 8-1, probably a home.
Right.
9-0, you get a home game. The 2 years ago, they tried to get districts passed, and it got passed. But then they were like, "Okay, so how's this going to work?" And when they passed it, our governing body said, "Well, we don't know. We don't have a rough draft made. We just want." And so they came up with a rough draft. They revoted it, denied it.
What do you people want from us? Like,
So then this year it came up again. Like districts came on the thing to be voted for. It got voted down. It'd be similar to what you just described, but it's going to go by enrollment. So your district's by enrollment.
yes.
And the problem is it might work well for the suburbs of Chicago. And Chicago, you get to the rest of Illinois because it's such a
Right.
good state. It's not like one of the proposals had Edwardsville, which is by Carbondale, where Southern Illinois is, and a Chicago school was within that district. So they'd have to travel 4 hours to play just a
4 hours for a district game.
and they were like, why? Like this makes
Right.
no sense. And so that's why it kept getting voted down. And a coach I know, coach is like 30 minutes away. They're 5A. He's like, Steve, he's a head coach. He goes, I saw the proposal. I would drive by 6 schools we could play for 2 hours to play a school that'd be in our district just because of enrollment. And
Oh, I got you. So, like, there's a lot of towns up there that a certain size, they're spaced out. There'll be several smaller schools in between those areas. That makes a lot of sense, man, because it kind of works like it was weird coming up here because it was more spread out,
Yep.
like what you're
Yep.
describing, you know. But it's not too bad here. But that makes a lot of sense because, like, man, it's hard to find games. You can be far away, you know, like we.
Yep.
But when I down in Houston, man, when I worked at Summer Creek, we were in two stadiums, period, like the
Wow.
whole year because Pasadena ISD has five high schools.
Hmm.
Humble ISD has four high schools. So we had like, or three because the Kingwood Park was 4A. My bad. So we had like an 18 district, you know? So
Right.
we literally the entire year were either in our Humble Stadium, Turner Stadium there, or we were at Pasadena Stadium. It was just back and forth, and they're like 25 minutes down the road. You know, it's like just hit Beltway 8, and you're like there. You know, like all right, here we go.
Yeah, that's like in our conference, where our enrollment's 1,800. We play a school that has two high schools in our conference. If you combined them, they're 8,000 kids. An-
Cool.
Another school is two. You combined them, they're 4,000. Uh, Another one is like 3,000.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In Texas, they like to keep it around 2,500. I don't know exactly why, and I don't know the exact number, but I know like those school districts because in like the Houston area, some of those are exploding
Mhm.
with freaking population growth. But like they want to shut it down by about 2,500. You know, you don't have many. You have Allen High School down here has 6,000
Yeah.
or 7,000 maybe now. They're the
Yeah.
largest. And then you have like Plano is up there.
Uh-huh.
Um, top 15, 20 gets down to about 4,000 quick. You know, that's like guys at Deer Park, it had 4,000 people. That's
Yeah.
a whole nother animal. Working at a school district with 4,000 kids, dude.
Yeah.
You don't even know all the teachers.
No.
Everything operates as like individual houses within the school and stuff
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
And man, I love because I've been in that and I've been at 2A schools. Like Tatum had 400 kids, 9 through 12.
Yeah.
And, the smaller the school, you got to wear more hats.
Yep.
But man, people, like, everybody. And
Right.
that really, you like that, and like where I'm at now, Pampa's great. We're right at, I think we're right at about 1,000, 1,100, somewhere around there. Man, that's such a good
That's
number,
just, yeah.
It's big enough that you don't feel like a nobody, you know what I'm saying? And I
Right.
don't mean no offense to anybody with less. I'm just saying I've been there, like when it is fewer numbers, you don't feel like you're the big guy. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like even if you're good, when Tatum, we were winning a lot of games there, very successful there. But didn't feel, but you're still such a quaint kind of feeling,
Right.
and I mean that with positive intent. That's not. It's just interesting, how much different. And then when you get in those bigger schools, you become a number.
Right.
There's too many. And I think when you're dealing with kids, man, zero tolerance isn't very good for kids. And so like being able to go to a school where you know the administration knows the kids,
Mhm.
administration, man, that's nice. I think that's where it's at, personally, because I've seen them all. I've seen the big Houston, and I've gone now to the high plains of Texas out there. Where people say the wind don't blow, it just sucks sometimes. Like there's just the flat high plains out here, and I love it up here. I think it's beautiful, but it's a lot different than Houston and the humidity and all that. And I've been lucky enough to go to those different places and you see those common themes, I guess is what I'm getting at is that, you know what you like. And it's been awesome because I've seen a wide range of kids from a lot of different lives,
Yep.
like when
Yep.
I was at Sea King, it's right up there. by the third ward and stuff like that. And it's would be some people consider hood. I don't. It's not. It's right on the Beltway right there.
Yeah.
Um, those kids. They'll love you if you sit there and show up that you're about them. Man, they need that love in their life,
Hmm.
and then then you go to like some parts of Deer Park, Barbers Hill. I worked at Barbers Hill, a highly affluent white community.
Hmm.
But guess what? That kid's parents both work or are drunk all the time and don't pay attention to them either, and they need that love too. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like it's there's a lot of kids out there that unfortunately don't get the attention, and it's not everybody's fault. You know what I'm saying? But they
Right.
want to be validated and stuff, and it's always important. Like if you're in education and stuff, man, you got to sit there and understand that kid's an idiot, and he don't even know he's an idiot because he's just a kid.
Right.
Like you gotta, and then I'm not saying enable them, and you gotta hold them accountable. But man, you can't take zero talk. They need every chance that we can give them. You're never gonna be wrong giving a kid another chance.
Right. That's where I'm at now. It's considered low income. It's not hood. It's low income.
Yes,
But like, I have to watch my siblings. I got 3 siblings. I got to work, and it's at a school I worked at 4,000 kids. I had kids after practice. We would go leave, and they're just sitting on the stairs, and we're like, guys, you gotta go home. Like, we don't want to go home, or
yeah,
and some said, I don't have a home. I live in my car, so I'm just hanging out. And you're like,
that's it.
and team dinners, coaches never ate. We made sure they took it home, give it to grandma because they didn't know where their meal was coming from.
100%.
And some of the kids here at this low income, I know for a fact they know where their next meal is coming from. And I always give the same spiel of like, some of you guys here don't even know. You have no clue about what some kids on this team's going through, what other kids have gone
That's it.
through. Uh, the funniest one was at the school, 4,000 kids. I'm yelling at the line. I'm young. I'm yelling, hooping, hollering. And the coach was like, Steve, you got to be careful. Like, do you know who some of these kids are? And I'm like, I don't care who they are. Next day, they all come walking up. And I'm like, oh, no, they're going to jump me. They're going to come after me. And they're like, nobody's yelled at us like that before. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And they go, we respect it. You're in trouble in this town. Call this number. And I'm like, oh, shit. Okay. Like, okay. They're like, we got you. And I'm like, okay, I appreciate that. And then
Real recognize real.
then I realized I was the only coach that could yell at them like that. If someone else did it, I
Man, well, yeah, real recognize real. Like you were being like you weren't being in anything particular. Like if I'm yelling because it's time to yell, I think people recognize that universally. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
And so like, there's a lot of people can pick up on things on if you're just being real, then that's fine. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? That's not the issue. Like everything's about intent. You know what I'm saying? And if you're
right,
just playing hard, you're not like people know what's up.
yeah. To end this, I'm really excited about that toss play. So I found it. I wanted to show it to you. I was super
Nice,
excited
yeah,
about it. I had to tag all of our offensive plays, so I had to find it.
yeah,
I don't know if you can see it or not.
oh yeah. That's how I feel anytime I share a screen. Like I hope I shared it.
I'm
Little
so
reduced bunch said I like it.
and like
Come on, big boy.
everything's
Oh,
gone, and he just gone.
oh, he was playing tag.
And then Coach Steve comes running down with it.
Oh, there you go. That's
That
a
I
great
love that.
run, though.
Like nothing was there. Number 0 was a hoss. Missed it. Gone. He's a sophomore. You know, and like we're gone. It was awesome.
Nice.
And he thought he did it wrong. He's like, I'm sorry. I know I'm supposed to go to the right.
Oh, man,
Like,
that
hey,
was great.
that big boy that you saw, 68, he's a sophomore. He's 6'5", 300
Oh,
pounds.
yeah.
And I've tried to get him recruited, but he in school does not act right. So we're trying to fix that.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. He'll
Like
get there.
that was his first varsity game too. My right tackle went down. I said,
Oh,
guess what?
yeah.
Guess what?
Who,
Your turn.
what? 75, your left guard. Who is,
Yeah, he's
he
my
looked pretty good. He got
he,
the guy, he had good reach. Nice, strong, gave a little shove afterwards. I liked some of his stuff.
yeah, let me see if I can do that again. Me and technology don't get along. Yeah, he's right here.
I think I was looking at the left guard is who I was looking at.
Oh yeah, right here.
No, it was the right guard. It was this part right here.
Yeah,
Okay, so I didn't see. I don't think I thought he was the backside guard cutting off right there.
yeah.
I watched
He
it
started
back.
as a sophomore.
This 77's a good looking kid. He
He's a
looks young,
senior.
young.
He's a senior.
Is he really? Oh, so
Yep.
he's just slow.
Oh yeah,
He's
he's slow.
like mentally, like he's like took him
Yeah,
time to process that.
because he questions everything.
Yeah, dude, just play the game, kid.
Like right there, I told him if you just kill this kid, I could care less about this.
I
But
like your receiver getting after it down here.
he's a junior. All the receivers.
Ooh, 84 is where it's at. Now I found it.
Yeah, that's our tight end. One of our tight ends.
Oh man, he's good, dude. Yeah. That's a big kid, huh? Is he probably what, 6'4", 6'5",
He's six
220?
four. He's a senior. He's gone. But our quarterback and running back are a sophomore. Like, yeah, I mean,
Downhill.
he just runs straight up and down, so I got to fix that. But that's about it.
Oh, you're no, no. I mean, they're playing. They're good, man. Things look good. You've done your job as a coach. I just like to watch. I like to watch film, evaluate it or whatever.
Yeah,
It's you know
and we're
it's
getting new
fun.
turf this year. Like it was all looking up. Brand new turf's coming in. We have 2 turf fields.
Nice.
Uh, I just remember that play and I had to find it because that
Yeah.
me and that running back, he was not a good kid freshman year. Like I didn't want nothing to be around him.
Right.
Coming into the
And there's
summer,
something like that at that age.
I was like, I don't want to be around him. And then something happened where we started talking, and then I started to talk to him, and I realized, oh, you just need somebody, is what I realized. Like you just need somebody to,
That's it.
and I became that person. And so,
Everybody is wants attention, and how they get it is up to us sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Because kids want the fighting for it. A kid will argue with you in class just as much for the same reason because attention is attention, and you if he's got you, he's got you. You know, like that's the old banana in the tailpipe when you start yelling back and forth with a
yeah,
kid. That's something as I've gotten older. When I was young, I'd do it. I would get after it, and you'd young, and I'll show him, man, it's never going to help anything. Like, don't choose violence in that part. Like, don't, because he just wants to. And like Mark Twain said, never argue with a stupid person because they'll drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. You know, like, you just freaking don't,
yeah,
man, because they're dumb. They'll
yeah.
sit there,
Well,
they get my wife sometimes. Oh, they get her fired up sometimes.
this kid's super smart. He had like 102% in classes. So I knew your school smart. I call that sophomore group's the COVID kids because
Yeah.
they didn't know how to act as freshmen. They were terrible. Like the whole group. I coached them at freshman basketball, and I never wanted to be done with basketball so quick in my life last year because of just the stress. And they were talented. They're just this. And
Right.
then once I started talking to this kid, got to the nuts and bolts, he started to open up. And now in football, all I do is give him a look, and he knew. So that's our relationship now. So when he ran that,
Heck yeah.
he came and found me and hugged me after the game and was like, "You gave," because they didn't want to put him in. I said, "Guys, put him in at running back. Put him in at running back. Just do it. I trust him. Put him in, does that." And he's like, "You're the only one that trusts me." I'm like, "I got it. Like, here we go." And it's just one of those things where he has parents that are financially stable. They're all good. So he's got what he needs. Now he just needs Coach Steve to be an ass sometimes and get through, and
That's
we'll get.
it.
That's all it is.
That's it.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming back on here. You are the man. I love you.
Oh man, I don't know about that. I don't even know what I talk about sometimes. I get in front of the camera and I get passionate about whatever I do, you know, because golly, man, why wouldn't you want to just have fun all the time? Like that's the best part of my job is that I get to coach football. I get
Yep.
to think about like the psychology of getting to motivate and you know promote a growth in a young man or a young woman in a young anyone. I guess it's not man or woman. I'm still trying to fix myself on that stuff. Young people, you know, that need somebody to be a positive influence in their life, to understand. And then when we're lucky enough to also put the coaching on top of it, where I can now really bring that guy in and truthfully try to raise him. I ain't father or anything, but I'm trying to sit there and get him to understand that, oh, hey, we got to be a man. We got to step up. And sometimes being a big boy, it sucks and it's hard.
Mhm.
Crap, it's hard, but we gotta go. We gotta step. I promise. Come on, you gotta get with it, man.
Yep.
And so that's raising, and that's what they need. They need the structure, and they need to be told, hey, I promise, I'm looking out for you. This is the answer. I'm in it for you. Like, I promise you, I'm not going to betray you. Like, when I'm doing this, I want you to be successful. That's the
Right.
most important thing to me. Period. 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 Okay. So trust me, and we'll do this. And it's like, man, if you can build that relationship, people talk about build relationship. That's what you're trying to do. You're
Right.
trying to show that individual that you're willing to sacrifice a lot of energy to make them a better person. And,
Right.
and if you can coach like that, you can get some people on your side and get kids to believe in themselves and seeing, man, there's a young man I coached in the fall, Duncan, and he, boom, he came off the ball for the first time, dude, and I saw it in his eyes. I saw it in his eyes how excited he was because he knew he felt the violence of it, like, man. And seeing that growth from that was big time, to me. And he was a sub varsity player. He's getting better every day, working his tail off. He's still about to be a senior and stuff. I'm excited about getting to, work him out more and get him ready and see what he can do. But last year he was on a sub varsity, and to see that growth and to see him build off that and to watch that confidence coming out of the locker room come with it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yep.
And so, like, I think, at least from a position coach standpoint, because the coaches wear a lot of hats. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I know you got to go, coach. I just,
Oh,
when you're a position coach, man, you're coaching the individual. Like, that's what I just
yeah.
talked about is what
Right.
is about right there. And then when you become a coordinator and stuff, man, that's a big reach now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now I can't ignore all these other guys. I
Right.
can't deny my guys. I can't deny my guys of their love. And
Yep.
it's hard to balance at time. I got to give it out. And so I got to be wise about it. And I got to man, I love my assistant coaches and I want to get them on my side
Hmm.
as an offensive coordinator. If I get those guys on my side, because again, they're doing the same thing. They're getting those kids on their side. And I'm trying to get everybody on the head coach's side.
Yep.
It works out from that point. That's why hierarchy is a good thing for stuff like this, because we're all on the same team. And the
Right.
goal is to sit there and influence positively everything that I can and make the chances of success go up as much as I can. That's all I can do as a coach.
Yep.
And how I'm doing it changes. If I'm coordinator, it's a bigger picture. It's stepping back, and that's one of the things that I'm continuing to grow on. Like this. I just finished my second year as offense coordinator. I got a lot of room to get better. I got to get a lot better as an OC, and to do so, I've got to make sure that I'm seeing the bigger picture
Hmm.
outside all that stuff, coach. And it's all about aligning with that head coach, AD.
Right. You got a lot of hats as an OC. You're not just, you're calling plays.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Everything.
People,
Everything.
you got to realize, and it's life or death. Like, I know I was a little intense right there, but that's why that's if I'm gonna be passionate, I'm gonna be passionate. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to do it. It's time to do it right, and that's what we're trying to teach kids on some of this stuff.
Right. Exactly. I couldn't say it better myself. Uh, that's a good way to end it, Coach. I appreciate you so much. You are a legend and the man at the same time.
Thank you.